Hi, this is Keisha, and this is a place to be if you want tips and tricks on how to live your best topsy-turvy life. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed? I mean, it feels like the whole world is caving in and the bottom is falling out all at the same time. It's a terrible feeling. Well, today I want to talk about just 5 tips and tricks that'll help you when you're feeling overwhelmed. Number 1, throw yourself a pity party. I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but invite a friend or two, and you could do this over text or email or in person with a cup of coffee, and invite someone that you know, that you love, who has earned the right to hear your story, someone that you feel comfortable being vulnerable around, someone who you've given permission to speak into your life. Set a timer for 15 minutes and use those 15 minutes to share all of your feelings. If you're angry, or if you feel that the situation is unfair, or if you're sad or pissed, whatever your feelings are, put all your cards on the table, and now's the time to share all of those emotions. And when the timer goes off, that's it. The party's over. It's closing time. Everyone's got to go. That's it. That's the end of the party. You'd be surprised. It sounds so counterintuitive, but it works. What it does is it gives you an opportunity to just kind of share your heart and to be transparent and to really get a sense of how you in fact do feel. Which leads into tip number 2 is really drilling down and identifying what is the source of your feelings. I like to call it the pebble in the shoe effect. Sometimes when there's a little pebble in your shoe, you're walking funny and you're limping, and then your hip starts to hurt. And then when your hip is hurting, your gait is a little bit off. Once your gait's a little bit off, your neck starts to hurt. And once your neck is all crooked, then your head starts to hurt. And then we really don't know what the source of the pain is, because you've got this headache and you really don't know what's causing your headache, when in fact it's really caused by the pebble in the shoe. But the only way we can know that is if we start really investigating and kind of peeling away some of the layers. And so I recommend that you do that emotionally also. It's just kind of getting a sense as to this feeling of overwhelmingness that you're having is getting to the root of the matter and the root cause of what's causing you to be so overwhelmed. Which leads us to tip number 3 is making a robust, I like to call it a spreadsheet. It's not even a things to do list, because things to do lists are anxiety provoking as it is. And if you're overwhelmed, that only makes you feel even more overwhelmed. But if you get a robust list and put them in categories, like a spreadsheet, you've got the things that are bearing on you heavily in your professional life, in your personal life, and the things that are emotionally weighing heavily on you. And you separate them by the things that are time sensitive versus the things that are just important, but not necessarily urgent. And it gives you a bird's eye view as to what you're dealing with and the things that need to get done. Then that leads us to tip number 4, which is super important, is delegating and asking for help. Call in the cavalry. Get some of those things off of your plate. You've got to be able to delegate some of those things and outsource some of those things that need to get done, and plug the hole and get on the no train and start saying no to new things. You have a limited bandwidth and a limited number of time. There's one you and 24 hours in a day, and that doesn't change for anyone. So when you're looking at this bird's eye view of all the things that are causing you to be overwhelmed, you get to prioritize the things that only you can do, and the things that are important to you, and the things that are congruent with the things that are most important in your life. And everything else, you have the right to say no to, and clear your plate. And then last but not least is exercising a very important skill when it comes to becoming overwhelmed. And that's managing your emotions. See, guys, here's the thing. Emotions are just energy. And the law of physics states that energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. And so therefore, if our emotions are energy, then we have the ability to transfer that energy into other things. And we can do that a number of ways. And this is a skill that takes some practice, but you can do that by regulating your breathing, by taking deep breaths, and managing your breaths. That's important. You can do that by meditating. You can do that by being intentional about your thought life. These are all things that take practice, but they are worth doing because they are such good ways to manage the feeling of being overwhelmed and anxiety and stress. And what these things do, this mindfulness and this control of our breathing and this intentional thought life, what it does is it stimulates our hypothalamus to release all the important hormones that increase our sense of peace and joy. So those are super important things to incorporate in our lives also. Those are 5 tips that will help you if you're feeling overwhelmed. I know a lot of this is much easier said than done. So if you need help implementing any of that, I'd love to help you with that. You can reach out to me. My contact information is on my website at www.keishaecampbell.com. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Like, subscribe, share the video. We can keep the conversations going. And until next time, this is Keisha with Tea with KC.